Alright, welcome everyone to the second public meeting we're having on MCME, and it's awesome that so many are here. I've gathered a decent list of small topics that we can talk about today. If someone has something else, please do not hesitate to add that in the end when we're through the other things. I've also put, or actually mainly I've put those things on my list that have been submitted on the forums already. So yeah, if you have something else, submit away. Good. There's no real order to the topics, so I'll just go through the list I've made. And of course, the number one rule: everyone should contribute whenever he has something to say, and I hope many have. So yeah, alright. The first quick topic, which I think you might have expected a little, and I want to keep it really short, is a quick statement about the recent, if you want to so call it, drama. Really, everything I want to say is congratulate all of you, because I think MCME has reacted just perfectly. Because the best thing to do if some nonsense like this is coming up is to just ignore it, and every one of you has doing this, yeah, just perfectly. So if anything else of this kind appears on any channel of MCME, yeah, just ignore it. That's the only real thing that's yeah, sensible, because they only want to get you into a fight or an argument, and if you're doing nothing, then you're doing just what they don't want you to do. Yeah, that's all I have to say. Is there any questions about it from anyone, or can anyone just move on from it, because it's really probably sometimes looking and sounding a lot more serious than it actually is to us. So yeah, any questions on this matter?
Not really.
No. To spend time on it. I'm really happy about MCME's reaction. Wasn't like that last times. So yeah, let's not spend time on it.
Yeah, it's running out of meme material, I think.
Yeah, let's continue.
Exactly. Alright, that's all for that. Good. Then, some quick side note, something that Bvot mentioned about the plot build plugin. All the things that he actually wished for are actually present already. A quick addition which Ariel hasn't mentioned yet. In case Bvot would like to have artists being able to build on the plots as well, even if they are not part of the plots. It could be considered to add the artists as staff to the as plot staff. There's a command for that, which makes them able to build on all the plots.
But we could also use the .supervisor permission. That will not give artists the full access to all plot stuff commands, but will make them able to build in foreign plots.
Yeah, but sure, but I think that would need another change of the plugin, or direct change of the permissions.
To give to them.
Oh, you mean? Oh, yeah, of course, yeah. I didn't know that plotbuild.supervisor only has this specific.
At the moment, designers have that permission.
Yeah, I thought plotbuild.supervisor was basically the same as the staff permissions on the plot build. But yeah, in that case, I can contact Q to add this perm to the artists.
That would be great, I think.
Just taking notes, because else I'm gonna forget about such things. Alright, then a first topic to debate about, I guess, diagonal ships.
No.
No.
Um, Go maybe quickly. My opinion first. My opinion is I don't really have one yet. The current ships that I've seen being built in diagonal manner uh, are not so nice yet to my eye, but I think there's definitely potential for that. And this, I think, who was it? Ruben, I think, has said if we can well improve on building these diagonal ships and actually make them look nice, and they gladly believe that. And so my opinion is, if you actually manage to make them look nice, which I think is very well possible, I'm all up for it.
We could just have like a big proper competition to see who could like create a new style for diagonal ships. If staff like it, then we go ahead. If no one likes it, then we just scrap it.
Yeah,
The main problem is scale. On our scale that we use, diagonal ships just don't look right. We'd need to be working with a much bigger scale.
I suppose so.
Yeah,
Well,
I have the imagination that ships anyway are a little out of scale and rather tendentially too big, like if you compare a ship to a house or so.
Yeah.
So I think we shouldn't make diagonal ships even bigger.
Yeah, and well, we can always just try it. Like, if somebody is in the mood and there's nothing better to do, just try to make one, and it'll go pretty well.
I know Ruben's making a bunch of
Yeah. Like, Ruben, you can just continue trying, and like, it's always worth a shot. Because if we can pull this off, the diagonal ships do look really cool.
Yeah. So, anyone has any objections to that? We are generally open to this idea. If we manage to refine the idea a bit more.
As long as they look nice, and I'm like, then we can use them, I guess. But
Yeah.
what you say, it's just a good idea to let people experiment with the concept, you know, with the diagonal ships.
I think there's a good chance that they will look good. We tried diagonal houses, which really don't like because houses are usually rectangular. You have flat walls and a 90-degree angle between them, and that just looks shitty on diagonal. But ships are much more bending, are much round shapes and so on. And I really think it's worth to think about diagonal ships.
Yeah, as I think it was also Ruben who wrote it in the forums. In contrary to the houses, ships have a rather organic shape. I mean, it's still engineering stuff. It's still not natural, so to say, but it's definitely less rigid in terms of the shape than a house would be. So that would be less the problem than it was with the houses. All right. Yeah, there might be some fishy accounts joining, and they might be going again very quickly because there's certain contributions which I'm really not interested in today. Alright, let's quickly cross off what we have. Or any more opinions on the topic of diagonal ships?
I think they're a good idea.
Yeah,
If we can make them right.
Yeah.
If we can make them look good at our scale, then
Alright. Good. The next one is who is this Ahorn guy? I've never seen him. And today I'm rather skeptical.
He's the guy spamming eggplants on Ruben's messages.
Oh jeez. Out of this.
Well, no, never mind. It's nothing sensible or anything. So, alright. The next thing I want to bring up is one that is an idea of mine, and that is I see the problem that we have a lot of awesome plugins, right? Mostly made by Ariel, but also other devs. And as I just experienced with Didi, who recently got promoted to artist, he has no idea how those plugins works. And so, an idea that I had a while ago is to have, for basically all the plugins where it's sensible, to have some, and Paperolin and Patrick, could you maybe put your microphone on push to talk because we hear you typing. Yeah. No, the idea I had is to have some sort of training courses for each plugin or each major feature that the plugins have, which basically are like a walkthrough tutorial that you have to, for example, in the case of the armor stand plugin, we basically had like a finished armor stand, I don't know, maybe some sort of floating sword in the air or something like that, or a shelf with items on it that was made with an armor stand, and then the plugin, the training course would be like halfway a tutorial explaining the commands and halfway an exercise to recreate the examples that are already there. And that would be something that would be nice to have for pretty much all the plugins that we have by now. And the point would be that all those who are newly promoted to a rank would have to complete these courses within a certain amount of time after they get promoted. And maybe like make a screenshot or something of their finished product or so. So first question for this. This would mean that all the artists that get newly promoted, and same for the designers and maybe the foreman, I'm not sure if I have something there, but surely the artists and the designers, whenever they get newly promoted, they would have to go through these training courses. I mean, it's nothing major, but still something that everyone would need to do. And probably also those artists that already have to rank now, so that everyone has the same knowledge. Would this be something that would rather annoy you, or would this be something that you think would make sense to do? Because otherwise I fear it might happen that there's only very few people that really know about all the plugins and know how to use all of them.
From my opinion, kind of. It kind of. No, Patrick!
Yes, Sam.
No, not right now. I'm trying to think of what to say. I'm not. Give it later.
What?
Damn it, Patrick. Shit,
Sorry, man.
Oh, cool, we got ducks.
I agree with that.
Yeah, it kind of worked because, like, I've seen through DA, there's like some houses that are obviously nicer than others. I think we kind of just need to, you know, still improve the quality of those. That's accepted, I suppose.
Yeah, Reed is asking what the penalty would be if you wouldn't do it. I don't really want to define something like that because I hope the artists are then aware of that and ready to do it. But realistically, if there's, I mean, I would probably remind that artist a couple times to do it at last. And if he's really stubborn and doesn't want to do it, then I guess the realistic solution would be to just take the rank away again, because this would be something that is connected to what an artist is able to do, and is basically if you apply, you agree to do these courses if you get promoted. So yeah, I mean it shouldn't be so harsh. I don't know. Yeah, I mean it's more of an offer to the artists to be able to know what is out there. And I mean what I'm mainly seeing currently is the use of the custom hats in Dol Amroth, and I think there as well only a couple of artists are actually aware of the hats at all or how to use them and such. And then we'll just have some houses which are really using those hats and some houses who don't, which is some inconsistency which we'll have, which is not nice. So yeah, that's also a bit an effect I want to achieve, that every artist can. I mean, it's one thing an artist should be able to do is follow a style. Another thing is actually be able to use a special technology, because there's really quite a lot of things which go beyond what would be just vanilla Minecraft building. And then after that, the other questions I want to put out there, I mean, I don't need an answer right now, but it would be interesting for those courses to get, for example, an artist to actually help me out on making those courses, because on one hand, I've got a lot on my plate. I actually plan on releasing my to-do list shortly. I wanted to do it before already, but didn't get to it yet. I want to have some sort of public to-do list so that everyone can see and put some stuff on it. But I'm looking for players who would like to help me on that, and I think artists might even be more used to those plugins already, because I'm not really building currently. Yeah, so this would maybe be the armor stand plugin, the banner editor, and the C-hats, which I think mainly are artist related. There are some designer things which of course I have to find someone else for, or do it myself quickly. But in case there is an artist out there that would be interested in helping me make such a course, please reach out to me. I'd be very glad for some help there.
But I mean, one thing I personally noticed while using these mods is that I don't know if other people also had a problem, but I also find it quite difficult to actually get to the information that is posted on the forum. Like,
True, yeah.
all the information on how to use the mod is posted on the forum, but it's very difficult to find it. Like, maybe we should just have on the forums always one permanent link on the home page that will get you to a proper command area, which, or it's a lot easier to find, because it's quite hidden at this point, at least in my opinion.
Yeah, Fighter is having a good...
are at the same location. They are all in the resources guide, so that is quite a central place in my opinion. And also there's a help command for all my plugins. So you can do plot help, you can do armor help, you can do banner help, you can do architect help. And I think there's even a link to the manual.
I'm not even sure if I have linked them in the artist manual yet. I think I have not, which I probably should do. Fire had an interesting idea to add the links to the helper commands, but I'm not sure how many know of that one actually.
Yeah, I don't know how easy that would be, but that way players could just like type helper C-heads and then find the link.
Yeah, I'm not sure how exactly it is set up, but I don't think it's very hard.
Should be possible.
That would just make it easier for people, because I do agree that sometimes tracking things down in the forums can get a little complicated kind of quick.
Yeah, and another general thing, it's if you just have to read it in text shape, it's probably a bit hard to follow and imagine it. I can imagine. I've just read through the banner manual, and I can very well imagine that it's a bit not so clear what you actually have to do. So it might in fact be easier to have this in-game tutorial where you can actually try yourself right away to do it. Then just have to read the manual. And actually, Ariel, we could add the videos I made to your guides. I mean, I made those videos to show off the Architect plugin features, and I think it's a bit easier to actually see it in action than just have to read it. Yeah, the armor stands do take ages to work out, and they also take very long to actually use, because there's a lot of options and there's a lot of, you have a lot of freedom to work there, and that is like that. That's nothing we can change, but what you can, yeah, it surely takes some getting used to. But on the other hand, you can actually copy armor stands. I think this plugin has, or this feature has made it to the finite version. I think I haven't.
Yes, we can copy and also save armor stands to file.
Oh yeah, I haven't actually tried that yet, but yeah, cool. Yeah, I think it's mainly getting used to and really knowing all the commands that there are, because Errol really invested a lot of time in it, and we too invested a lot of time testing it and finding more ideas. Yeah, so I think that's also a reason why I want that in-game training to really go through all the commands that are not only the basics.
Yeah, I really like the idea, and I want to support it in the tutorials, but I have also a lot of things to do already.
Because the thing is, if you actually want to like use an armor stand and then go and consult the manual, you probably will only read those parts that are of interest right then, and you'll probably skip some of the features which might be useful and you just don't know about at a later point. Alright, any further inputs to the topic of training courses for the plugins, or the plugins in general?
Yes. One of the artists do it that you know that can do it. Like,
I could probably do it.
yeah.
Yeah, that was already recommended to make like artists do it.
Why not? I mean,
It was already recommended.
oh, it was already.
Well, for first you have to like finish the training course before it's actually a necessity to do it. Yeah.
This could be a good example of something to provide as like a public project. Just like post the idea, and then you'll get artists apply for the job, and then whoever like has a good application can work on this kind of stuff to take it off of other people's plates.
Interesting idea, but I wouldn't really make it with like applying for it. I think if someone just wants to do it, I would just hand it out, because I mean it shouldn't be so big of an issue that you have to like write up an application or something. Mainly it's just making a few exercises based on the manual and making sure all the commands are used at least once. I don't think it's very hard to do. It's just a little work, I guess. But sure, yeah, we can put it out there for claiming as a sort of public project, yeah.
Or maybe an alternate version. One of the guides can do it. Like to add something to the guides.
It's a bit odd if guides make a tutorial for a plugin that is used by artists.
Yeah, like I know a bit about the plugin already, but I'm pretty sure like most guides have never heard of it or used it in any super way.
The guides could probably make a tutorial, for example, in the guidebook or something. Or the minigames. Some really thorough tutorial on how to edit and make questions for the quiz plugin in game would be interesting, because it's quite a tricky bit of work. Alright, if that's okay, we'll move on. The next thing I have on my list is something that was submitted by, who was it? I'm not sure anymore. About plot builds, a complaint, so to say, that that most of the terrain plot builds are not publicly accessible. I think that's still the case today. I think he referred to an older
we
thread.
discussed that in the forum, and we explained why we made that private. The problem is that terrain smoothing is not that simple, and you really need to instruct someone who's starting with that. Otherwise, everyone could just claim a plot and could start building. Without a very detailed build guide on the forum, the results are very poor. I tried it sometimes, and I didn't get any usable results. So Daniel and I made them private to to be sure we are able to instruct the players who want to do that, and give plot onlys to those who got it how to do.
Good, yeah. So for the situation, I'm having three ideas to make it a bit easier for players to claim plots when no one's around, or no, just generally to make it easier to claim plots. The first one was already named, that there is some sort of guide, like I would imagine some sort of Google Doc with a lot of images or so, that we can easily add to the /plot set info thing. That is a thing that will show up every time someone claims a plot. And I mean, if we do it that way and it still doesn't work out, I mean, for some reason we have implemented the feature that you can just reset a plot if it really is bad.
It's just that I hadn't found time to make such a guide.
Sure. That would be a solution. Another solution I thought about is giving some artists that are already very well used to how the plots or the terrain shaping works, giving them the staff permissions on that plot build so that they can also give out plots, which increases the chance that someone who can give out plots is online. I guess there are certain artists who are often doing terrain jobs.
That's a good idea.
The one downside would be, I guess you're not using the same plot build all the time, but making new ones, I guess. Or am I wrong there?
We have three so far.
Dealt with. Continue. Alright, thanks.
I don't see a problem to give those artists who made some plots already, give them staff permission for all the plot builds. I don't see a problem with that.
Yeah, that's an idea I thought about. That would be very easy to do. The third idea is probably the most complicated one, if you want so. That is to sort of, it's kind of similar, but to like whitelist certain player. It would be a new feature to the plot build plugin. To so to say whitelist players for a plot build, so that certain players who have, for example, already completed one plot successfully under supervision, then can claim plots themselves from there onwards. Just the first plot that they would have to be assigned to, and from there on could claim it themselves.
I feel like I'm not a very big fan of the idea of giving artists permission to open the plot builds.
Don't confuse things here. It's only giving art, or there's a feature to add any player as a staff to a certain plot build. This allows them to make new plots in that plot build, assign players to a plot in that plot build, but they cannot make new plot builds, and they cannot do anything with other plot builds. It's really per plot build, this additional staff permission.
Okay, gotcha. I think that'd be fine.
Well, technically, there isn't a permission to make someone only enable him to assign players to plots. It's always the full admin commands you get for the plot build. But I think the whitelist idea is very nice.
Yeah, but it's the case that it's really the best idea. I mean, one thing is the additional work for you to implement it. The other thing is it just makes the plugin even more complicated. I mean, it's already now quite expensive with all the commands it has, and I don't think it makes it easier to use if you have more features.
No, I just see it's on my list already for quite some time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So for now, I think the idea of the artists could work best. And would be easiest. Yeah. The command is /plot add staff. Yes, any further inputs or ideas on the topic of... I mean, we can make it general. I mean, this is something that could also be maybe used for house builds in Dolamarov or so, if there's certain artists that you think can really supervise a bit. I think maybe it has already been done, probably. Yeah. So any further ideas or inputs for the topic of plot builds and private or public and stuff? Alright, then I guess everyone is content with such a solution. You as well, Rit? Is that something we can live with? Yeah. Right. Good, let's cross that off my list. Then we're already quite a few points in. Good. Yeah, someone pointed out as well. I am again not sure anymore who was it who pointed that one out. Is regarding new sets of armor textures. Currently, we're having the same sets of armor in all the resource packs, and there is a suggestion to have different sets of armor for all the packs. For example, in the Lothlorien pack, mainly have Elvish armor. I think that's a great idea. I don't think there's really any argument against it. The problem obviously is how we get those textures. Quick shout out if there is players out there who'd like to get texturing. We're always looking for you. Please message.
So I actually looked into this a while back when I was feeling like texturing. The hardest part about it is going to be making sure that the textures that a new player designs match the similar style of what Scooby-Doo did originally, because we don't want to have this pack of mismatched armor textures that don't really have a unified style. So that's just one thing to keep in mind when trying to design new textures. Like, all for designing new ones, but I think we should just be careful about just like replacing a bunch of them with ones that are not necessarily the best, if that makes sense.
But it's like making textures pretty much the same as doing pixel art or pixel.
No, it's I've tried it myself very briefly, and I must say I wouldn't really be able to do it. I sure would be able to learn it, but I currently am not able to do any reasonable or usable texture for Minecraft. It's not as easy as it might look like.
Yeah, it's, for me at least, it's kind of hit or miss. Like, I feel very comfortable designing like plant textures and items, but then I'm really shitty at designing block textures, for example. So I don't think it's comparable in that sense, no. I mean, last time we did this, we just posted on the forums of like, if anybody wants to design textures, they should, and we had like a little competition for it. So I mean, we could try something like that again. That brought out a ton of texturers.
Did it? I'm not even sure. I remember the events, but did it actually have any results there? I'm not even sure anymore.
Yeah, no, it worked really well. When we did that last time, we didn't really have anybody that was texturing at that moment, and Scooby-Doo was as you remember, he's the one who designed, for people who don't know, he designed the current armor textures as well as like the MCME logos and stuff like that. And so he was introduced at that time and designed the armors, and then Wadlith designed the weapons, and we had a ton of other submissions. I don't know if they're still somewhere on the forums or if they were wiped with the forum crash a while back, but we did have a lot of submissions at that time. It was just a more question of the quality of the armor and like that people were designing. We got a lot of submissions like orc armor and ranger armor, and I just don't know where they went.
Yeah, the quality, and on the other hand whether they actually match together, because it's this big mystery for me as well. What makes something, or what makes a texture be fit for the MCME style? It's a bit a tricky topic actually. I couldn't define the MCME style or something. Yeah, but I fear I do not have those textures myself, and I have quite a lot of unused textures on my end. I fear those have gone with the forum crash.
Yeah, I know, like, for example, there was Scooby designed a Ranger tech, or like leather armor a while back, and I tried to reach out to him to get it, but he hasn't gotten back to me. So, I mean, I could try again at the armor. I was gonna try and do some dwarven ones for Despot, but they sucked, so I didn't submit them.
Yeah, I said it's really not easy. It's maybe a bit of a talent that you have or don't, which I don't, for example. But yeah, if you think, Fire, that the last competition was really successful, then sure, I'll gladly organize it again. Yeah, noted that one down. Yeah, but I think it's without question that we have that we want to have some more variety in the textures, in the armor textures, and have some resource pack specific sets, which I think makes definitely a lot of sense. Good. So much for the topic of armor textures. Let's see what else I have on my list. A few things. Something that was very recently mentioned. Changing the sound that happens when a new job is created. Seemingly, too many players are being startled by it.
Good fun.
I like it. I think it was already a little bit of a joke when the job plugin was first introduced. I think it's funny.
I rate it as well.
So some voice who is for or against this sound, or who wants to have another one?
I can honestly care less.
What? I had no idea there was a sound.
It's just a sound.
I just keep my Minecraft sound off. Didn't even know it existed.
The good thing about it is that when it alerts people, they ask what it is, and then I'll just done the job.
Yeah, the thing is, it's really unique. I mean, there's a lot of sounds coming from, I don't know if you get a message on Steam, a message on Discord, a message from I don't know where, and this sound is just really recognizable. This is not some view mistake for something
Where did
else.
that sound even come from? Like, does anyone know why that sound was picked? It's so
No idea. I think it was some sort of joke when they first made the job login to like choose the most ridiculous sound they found or something. That's my assumption, but I wouldn't know it. It's the sound of an ender dragon dying or screaming or something.
Oh,
I think it's actually dying, yeah.
Well, because then it's like a sound that's not like trademarked or whatever. I don't know.
It's just an in-game sound. I guess it's just.
Yeah.
I mean, there's an in-game command to play Minecraft sounds. I guess the plugin just hooks up to that command or something. No, it's not. Well, I guess the Minecraft sounds are some sort of copyright protected, but I guess they're in the game and we're just using it from the game file, so it's a vanilla sound, yeah, right.
I think one other option is if we do want to replace the sound. I know iSmith does a lot of like music related stuff, so if we wanted to ask him to try and come up with like a new
Or else,
jingle.
Rit, you can. I mean, I think it was it your suggestion. I'm not even sure anymore. Was it yours? It was. So if you want, you can take yourself half an hour or so and hop into a single-player world with creative mode on, and quickly look into the /playsound command and look around if you find something that you would think is nicer. Because there's a lot of sounds to choose from. But yeah, I mean, I don't mind too much, but I think it's a really interesting idea to have such a recognizable sound.
I propose the block breaking sound, but then amplified to 1,000. To be honest, like
Doesn't there you go yours.
Yeah, that even the Ender Dragon, it just completely messes with some people hearing. Like it's so loud.
Can we just get like a bunch of those parrot sounds that everyone plays? I mean, another option, doesn't it make like if you log on when there's a job already running, doesn't it make like an anvil sound?
Yes.
Yeah, true, yeah. When you log in and there's a job running, yeah.
Because, like, usually people announce the crap out of a job when they host it. So I don't think, like, scaring the shit out of people is, like, a necessity for getting going.
Good fun.
Alright, so much on that. I think if you find another viable option that is less startling, then we can gladly switch. Also, just to have something new for once again. Alright, let's see. I only have 2 more quick points. Nothing big anymore. So again, if someone is having someone that's he'd like to voice some critique or a suggestion or anything, I'm very open and spontaneous for discussing anything. So the second last point I have is a quick shout out to something else that I want to bring up. As you maybe have seen, I've announced at some place in the forum a few days ago that we're looking into getting guides introduced in the building process, and the one idea that we're having there is to have the guides look out a bit for the topics of realism and lore in the builds. Specifically, yeah, I mean, checking up on the lore whether something is viable lore-wise is pretty clear. But it's more about the realism part. What we started among the designers at some point, which unfortunately didn't last very long, is writing up guides for certain topics of realism, so to say. This could include how does a realistic mountain look like, or some notes on how does a realistic field of a farm look like, things like that. And I want to reach out to all of you, asking 2 questions. On one hand, is there someone out there that is, I don't know, maybe studying or has a special interest in a certain aspect of the real world, maybe geography, agriculture, architecture, something like that? Yeah, Epic, we hear you drinking something, or what? I'm not sure what it is. Yeah, if there is someone out there of you who has some special knowledge in agriculture, geography, architecture, anything like that that we could use in our builds, it would be very interesting to note down a certain part of that knowledge in a sort of guide that we would incorporate in our builds, and then, for example, use the guides or make it a job for the guides to study this guide and collaborate with the designers to incorporate it into builds. Building engineering?
Is physics also something?
Sure. We just have to see how far it is like practically applicable. Like if you're studying quantum physics, it's probably not so useful for us. But if it's more about statics, and for example, I mean, it's a topic I often mention in artist applications, for example, that one should not stack stone on top of wood structures because statics. Things like that would be interesting, but yeah.
Finn,
Should? Yeah.
how, like, I study architecture for one. Like, how would that be useful? How would I, like, do I have to advise something, or what do you imagine with that?
Architecture is probably a bit tricky. I'm honestly not sure what. Yeah, it's probably more about historical architecture, how a medieval building is looking like. not so much
Oh.
about modern architecture, I guess.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
I mean, I think isn't that the point of posting these projects publicly before starting them is just to get feedback on like city layout, design, like I think that's something the server has overall improved on over the past few years, but I think just making sure people are aware that their contributions are valid and appreciated in those posts.
yeah, I mean that this is the main part of working together. Everyone has his own set of skills, and we're working together so that not everyone has to be able to do everything, but that some certain people can share what they can with the others. And so this is just yeah, reaching out there. Um, when we go into more concrete details with the thing with the getting the guides involved in building, I may actually reach out again through the forums and ask around there, but I just want to place it for now. So yeah, if someone thinks he's has either generally a large interest in something, or is even very knowledgeable already in something that maybe, I mean, it's also things that bother you on our map that you know this is not right as it is, or could be done better, and you'd like to share your knowledge on that, please do so and message me or so, and then we can look in what format we can bring it. And I mean, we don't want everyone to have to study or acquire the knowledge of an entire study course, but we can break it out to some usable amount. Alright, yeah, just wanted to place that. Think about it. Maybe you know someone else, share it with someone else, and maybe someone that will be watching the recording of this thinks, hey, that's me. I want to contribute something like that to the map. I mean, building is one thing, knowledge is another thing, which is just as important. Good. Then I only have one more thing, which I would use as a small conclusion thing. So if there's anything from you guys that you would like to quickly discuss, please voice it now.
I've got a whole list, but there's also a whole bunch of noise. Should I just copy and paste it into the chat?
How is that noise? Oh, yeah.
Tumble dryer.
There it is.
I mean, do we want to talk about recent events at all, or kind
of
beginning?
I've said something very quickly in the beginning, Fire. I only wanted to like congratulate MCME for how it dealt with the entire matter. Yeah, how there's not more to say from my point. Instead, that we should continue treating it like we were so far, and just continue with it. Every minute that we spend worrying about this nonsense is a minute that we lost for something stupid. So yeah, just don't worry about it and move on and do something productive.
Just want to say one thing to that. Don't take matters into your own hands, please.
I'm sorry, didn't understand that right there.
Well, like, I don't want people, like, especially members, to take matters in their own hands.
Yeah.
Like starting posts in their forums or questions or whatsoever. If you're having trouble with anything, just come to me, throw me a PM on the forums or throw me a PM on Discord.
Oh man, I had like 20 shit posts like ready to go on forums. I was about to hit send until you said that, Credo.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, it's please don't do that, because it's not worth it. It's just prolonging the entire thing, and we can just hope that it gets.
Trying to de-escalate, not escalate.
Eggplants into position.
Oh gee.
Yeah, Rit is asking about what about revamps, revamping older areas, and the answer there is obviously we try to find a balance between moving on and going back. We've always been doing revamps throughout the history of MCME, of course, as everyone knows, I guess. We try to find the best possible balance for doing new things and going back to old things. It's always a tricky topic because no one wants to do the same thing as everyone else wants to do. I mean, for example, a Shire revamp, everyone would be very up for, I guess.
No.
And others can't wait to start new things. So yeah, we need to find a middle ground there.
Yeah, I think for every revamp we have to consider the benefits of it. So for revamping Lin here, for example, I would say, oh, a clear no, because it's so far off the main places and so few new players are asking about Lin here. Shire revamp, maybe we could think of some time, because all players first spawn in the Shire. But to be honest, when I'm on the server and I see what new players are asking about, I would vote for Erebor instead of a Shire revamp.
Yeah, agreed.
Erebor, seriously?
Yeah, we start tomorrow.
Instead of Shire revamp.
Oh, instead. Yeah.
No.
I think we need to revamp.
Yeah,
I want to revamp the Shire. I want to revamp it. I want really to revamp it and make the terrain realistic and so on, but it's not the most important stuff we can do.
I feel like this city called Diamroth needs some revamping. I don't know.
Stop it already.
Thomas, I know where you live.
Oh jeez.
Yeah, as said, we tried to find a solution that pisses off least people, easily put. If you're not content with the decisions that, well, basically I am making, please reach out to me. I'm open to suggestions all the time, but I try to find a solution that suits as many people as possible, and sadly it's not possible to suit everyone's opinion. So yeah, I just try to find the best out of multiple not perfect solutions.
I actually have a proposition for how you can do a Shire revamp but not completely waste your time on it. Or at least it's a possible idea, and that is, instead of just doing the entire Shire in one go, you just do like one city at a time. So that way you focus a lot on the places, and you don't have like the overall everybody's everywhere. That will make the speed faster, and basically you can implement every town after another in a while. And that is how it's going to be.
You know what the worst thing is in the Shire? It's not the buildings, it's the terrain.
Yeah, but you can do both the terrain and the building.
No. You can do the terrain only at the whole thing.
Yeah, you need an overall concept and really paint the overall picture before you can focus on the villages.
You have to design all the valleys and the small streams and everything, and it has to be done in the whole thing.
Also, another question is whether you want to tweak around with the scale. I mean, the villages are very close together. Maybe we can, I mean, given the area that surrounds the Shire is rather empty, we can maybe increase the scale of the Shire a little so that we have some more space between the villages and that the in-game feeling of the Shire is actually a lot better.
Okay, cool. Let's plan a Shire event in detail.
No. I did have a question, but I'll say now, because as we're talking about the Shire, why isn't there a bridge in?
Is there not? I think there was one, or at least a house near. May it be? I might be mistaken there, but may it be that the bridge inn only existed in the or after the War of the Ring, like around the Battle of Bywater and such. I have
so
some.
In the 13 months that Frodo was away, they built a random pub next to a bridge in the river.
Priorities.
They're also upset with Frog, aren't they? So I can
Yeah, we need more alcohol.
Yeah. It makes sense.
No, Finneglism was there, it just got torn down after, well, Sharky came to Shire.
Yeah, the suggestion of Ritz that we should read the books and add some of the small details along the path. yeah, we can do that, but the problem is there are some things missing which are rather a bit too big to add. Because, for example, in the Shire, after they leave the place where they meet the elves, there's another swamp in there. I think it's called the Yale or something, which is just altogether missing. Which is something that's finally mentioned in the book, but that's not something that we can call a detail and just quickly add it. Yeah.
Oh, I think we're going to do a Shire revamp then.
Yeah. Alright, I think we can leave it for that for the topics of revamping. As said, I want to leave you with if you have any suggestions or critique on what we are doing currently, please reach out to me, because if you're just totally unhappy with what we're doing, then I really want to try changing something about it, if somehow possible.
Can I bring up one more thing?
Sure.
Can we get like an update on like the progress of the Universal Resource Pack stuff, and just like what's going on with the Resource Pack?
I desperately want to finish it. It takes a lot of time, unfortunately. I have taken myself off 2 days, tomorrow and Tuesday. I want to do some significant progress on that, especially fix the or add the fixes to the Gondor 2 resource pack to reduce the lag, hopefully significantly. The bigger projects or partial project that is to do is to plan like removing the old Gondor pack and only continue using the new one. It needs some very clear and thorough planning with replacing all the blocks, because if the order is somewhere derped, then we might actually mess up the entire map. It's a bit risky there, so and there's a lot of blocks to replace, so I will probably need a while to plan that. After it's planned, it's not so big of an issue, because we can just queue the replace jobs with the new plugin. But yeah, first priority, after I'm done with the rank applications that are still open, which I will do tonight still. It's a few artists and a few designer applications which I haven't looked into yet. I will work on the resource pack. That has definitely the top priority to reduce the lag in the Lamarov and add the small fixes that I have in queued. There's about a dozen or so that I want to implement. But yeah, the resource pack is the top priority for me.
Did you already decide about the doors which swapping?
I have that on my. I've all put it on my to-do list, and the doors are on it as well. Yeah.
So because I haven't done made the file for all doors. I did only for Oak so far, because I was waiting for a decision to go on. So if
I think as I have it in my mind, it's definitely a sensible decision to change it like that. It's
okay, so
I think
I will make the other door files.
That would be very nice. Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks. I will start working on the pack tomorrow anyway, so if you don't get to it by then, I will gladly do it myself. Yeah, so let's quickly. I'm quickly looking on my list what I have on for the RPs. There's a bug with the bookshelf with Optifine that I have on my list to look into. Then change the doors I have. Then the item blocks, change those that are most commonly used to regular blocks wherever possible. I think there's more. Yeah, don't see anything else right yet on the map, but I think that there might be more things. Yeah.
So the other question I'd have is, from like our perspectives, what would be beneficial in terms of contributions? Like, do you need textures? Do you need help planning this stuff out? Just because like we realize it's a large project to switch all these blocks, so, like, what would help?
The planning, like in which order to switch the blocks is something I fear has someone has to do it alone, because it's really like to see the connections between it's it's a bit a tricky one, but I think anyone could do it. The thing that I would have to do before that is update the large document that I made about the resource packs, so that it's very well visible what the differences between the old and the new Gondor pack are. It's mostly complete already, but I have to bring it on the newest state of what the pack currently is and will be after the quick fixes. Yeah, that's a few little updates that I need to make there, but after that we can look into that someone else can work on the planning for the block switching. I'm not sure if you have seen the document already. I cannot really link it because it's in the staff forums, I guess.
I have, yeah.
Yeah, good. That's just this one which I quickly need to update, and then you can really easily compare where the differences are, and then we just have to find an order in which we can swap out the blocks in the old Gondor part, so that nothing gets like overridden and two blocks are suddenly the same and we lose some information or data. It's a big logic puzzle, but yeah.
It'll be worth it.
Alright, cool. Nothing else, I guess. Last chance to speak up.
One more thing.
I'll PM you my list.
I just found a place that I started that I never finished, and nobody has finished it either.
What?
Where?
This tomb, it is just outside of Dol Amroth. Well, not just outside, actually a bit far away from Dol Amroth, near Lost Falls. It's the blah 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 tomb.
Oh yeah, this. This.
Finish it, Nick.
Yeah.
I will not finish
I'll
this.
start a job.
I haven't even.
It was about like a year ago.
Yeah, and this was, I think, like 2 months before my ban, so that means that it was around January that I started this.
Okay, you aren't as bad as me. At least you didn't have a project that was work in progress for more than a year. Thank you for finishing up that whole, Patrick.
Yeah, you're welcome, man.
No, thanks for pointing out that this one, Nick. Yeah, we'll look into that. Yeah.
But yeah, this is something that I noticed. Because like we were talking about stuff, and then I find out, wait, did anybody actually finish this? Because like I know, like before I left, and I asked like somebody to finish it, but I think they forgot, and since then nobody has really been working on it. So
It's huge.
yeah, it's quite big.
All the plants.
Yeah.
All the flowers.
Alright, in that case, I only have one small thing to finish off, and that is a little hype. Quick question, what happens every year on the 10th of October?
Anniversary.
Anniversary, right. So, MCME will be getting 7 years old.
Oh man.
And I might just spoiler that something might be happening. Although I fear the actual date of the event is not set yet, because they consider not doing it on the actual 10th, but on a weekend before or after that. So please look out for that. There will most likely be some fun things happening there. And
If you don't come on the 10th, they'll give you money to bribe like your teachers or your employers to give you work on the day.
Ian McKellen will come visit.
yeah. So
Yeah.
so make sure to be looking out for any announcements. I hope they come soon. I personally don't even know it myself what the guides are planning, but there's something in the making.
Guides, oh no.
Guides under the new head guide.
I think that there are going to be a lot of jobs.
Oh, this is gonna be fun,
Ah.
Mando.
Oh yeah. I know what's happening. I think.
I don't think
There
guides
are
will be
going to
organizing
be
jobs.
a lot of jobs.
By the way, Finn.
Yep.
I was like working, like I'm starting up some work in Moria again.
Yes.
And I saw that you like, I was not there, but there was like a build day, and you started up like a
Yeah.
enormous hall
Yeah.
with plannings. Have you any idea what's gonna happen with that?
You mean the what is it called? The upper dwellings or central dwellings?
Yeah, upper dwellings, yeah.
I really would like to continue it, but actually, wait, I can share it now because I anyway wanna share my to-do list, so I can already do it right now.
Me and Patrick can get working on it. Me and Patrick have been working on Moria lately, but we can go.
Honestly, why can't we just like finish the Path of the Fellowship at the least, and then expand outward? It would like
but that
people to build.
Yeah, I agree. Like, there's something like if you look around, the dwelling that Finn was making, it's like that everything around is finished on the main level, like everything. So there's only a layer on top of it, and that layer is like the Fellowship doesn't even come there mostly, like one corridor and that's it. So we could just build that little area, the corridor, and leave the rest open for later. You know, first the main path.
I don't know if Despot had like enormous plans, but
he did, yeah.
It's a bit like wasn't it originally he was like 7 different
worlds, yeah. Yeah, that's massive.
Yeah, but generally I would, or I'm not sure whether it did get you right. Do you want to continue it right away, Patrick, or what's the point? I mean,
hold on. If you defeat me, Finn.
Yeah, sure.
And I will show you what like is done and what I'm planning on doing with Despot. Like I had an area like in Moria with a couple of tool workshops, and I had some contact with Despot about it lately. And he said he has been a little bit demotivated lately because no one is doing anything. And he told me like if I finished my area and ruined everything, he would return.
Patrick, so much weight on your shoulders.
What?
How you handle this?
That's just what he said. He said if you finish this stuff, he will return and do another hole. Like he will probably go work on one of the big holes, maybe this one, I don't know. But as you see, like this is like the only thing what is not done in this area. Like of course if you count the third layer with it, like where we're flying now on this level, then not of course. But the rest of it, like on the main layer, is all finished. So if this would be finished, we are pretty much able to start the Fellowship's path from there on. If that's what we agree about that.
Okay. Yeah. Generally, I would be very hyped of continuing it, but the reset pack has priority, unfortunately, because
yeah, of course. But would you be able to like? I'm not sure if Despot will do it. Like we'll see about that. But if this gets started up as a project. Like what they said, maybe we as foremen could assist you in it, like with this project.
Sure. I mean, I don't want to be a blocker or something if there's other people hyped about starting this place.
Yeah. I still have some small stuff to finish first. What do you say, Tom?
I just want to be able to walk from Moria, like from west to east.
I want to.
Honestly, to be fair, I doubt, as long as there's stuff all around it on, I doubt people will really venture out that far.
Yeah, they won't now.
And then you can do that. And Moria's basically just become a side project now, slightly.
That's my opinion, and it has been for a long time, and I think you all agree, most of you all agree on that. It's not like, I just think we should leave most of it, like the side holes where no one probably will go. We would just leave empty and just work on the path that the Fellowship actually took, so that people can walk from west to east, and you can like already like let people explore it now, and not 5 years from now or whatever.
Yeah.
Take to finish.
You should at least open up the upper.
If you put the footprints down in Moria as well, people aren't people won't even get lost.
So. No, I think at least we should work on the important things, not like side little working chambers somewhere on the third level, like where no one would go.
Question: isn't that how Gondor also was done?
Yeah, we talked about
it has.
When we started Moria, we talked about that. When we do the main places first everywhere, then it will be very hard to do all the details of the main roads. There will be very few people interested in that. Many people will move to the next main project and so on. And I think that's why we decided to not to do it like that, but do the eastern part first, and then when it's finished, move to the west. But
Yeah, but
maybe that was wrong.
But Ariel, like if you look at the map right now, like if you go into Mori, if you look from the second hole, like everything around the second hole, the level where you would walk is all done. And the if you go up to the second level, also there everything is done. Like, but I just feel like if you would first finish the main areas, the main path with the Fellowship took, and then later, like, then it's still the main project, and later if all is done and you can just walk through it, then it becomes a side project, and you can like do some little jobs sometimes on the remaining holes on the third level, or like away from the path, you know, as a side project.
Yeah, I agree.
Wait.
I think people still build them. I don't think we're going to get bored just because they're not doing
Yeah,
it.
if you're like want to build a more, you can always just pick a little hole, you know.
One little
I
thing.
think that's available as well, though. That's
Do
something
people-
that the main project.
Does Despot know, like everybody know about that? Quite a few of Moria's textures have been fucked up, like the stained glass textures.
Yeah.
They dropped out, so many need to be replaced, or we need to roll back like the resource pack. Because I think Despot changed some textures, and a lot of places look weird now. Yeah, I have one example for you XTP to me.
Yeah, I've seen it as well, and I've
Yeah,
also got
check.
it. I've also got it on my list. Well, to look at all of that. And
Oh yeah, this. Oh god.
and yeah, look at
Okay,
there's
that's
also
specific.
something else that I've told to Despot a few times. I'm not sure if it's still in the pack actually. Whether there's still connect textures in the pack, which you can only see if you have Optifine on, which I'd like to get rid of, because then there's a few situations where it looks really weird in either case. Yeah, so there's anyway a general review of the pack that I want to do.
Guys, check the Fellowship's path. Look how short it is in the third layer. Like this is where I went. Like this staircase. They go up here. This is the third layer. They walk through this corridor and they go up here again. And that's it.
Yeah, and it's like nothing.
No, the rest of the third layer would just not be used for the Fellowship. Like they would just go to the top layer, you know, the loading zone here, and that's it.
Yeah.
So it would be more efficient if we just.
So we really should just open up to go for 21st hole is the next thing.
No. There's more. Like there are more big holes that need to be done.
Yeah, there's a few more big holes, and then there's like a lot of stairs.
But honestly, the big holes are also like lots more fun to do. I have to be honest. Like all these little small workshops and stuff, and these endless corridors gets a bit tiring at some point. Like I know because I did most of these little sections of rooms and corridors and small holes that don't have any importance at all. Like
It's tedious.
It's tedious.
Like people want their builds to matter.
Yeah, like say,
I don't.
For an example,
matter. Nick, go away.
Like for example, if you look at Dave's hole,
I
he
really
made.
can't do that.
I mean, for
It's
the
so remote. It's so remote and so unimportant. No one will get that probably ever again. Like
Wow.
an adventure.
Oh, believe
That's
me,
one
I
way
will.
to crush my self-esteem. Wow.
Same for my
Yeah,
hole. Like
Dave,
every
Rude.
Dave, no one wants you.
I'm gonna cry myself to sleep now.
do it.
I'm gonna see my horse.
yeah, the thing that Ariel said is one thing, that if we first do all the significant parts and then move on with the less significant parts that are much rarely being visited, it gets less interesting, or yeah, like it gets less interesting to do those, I guess. But I think in this case it might be beneficial, because it would lower the pressure a bit about the question of when will Moria finally be done. It will probably not be fully done when we finish the Fellowship's path, but it is done enough that they can walk through it, which kind of takes away some of the pressure that you have, and then we can carry on Moria for a longer time. Because a phenomenon that's very often appearing with Moria is that people are burning out of it, burning out from it, and are no longer motivated to do all the same things all the time, because I think it has it is quite significantly more monotonous than a city is, and so I think it might even be the only realistic way to finish it in the end, to carry it on and have just those players who are motivated at the time to work on Moria motivatedly, because if you force people to work on Moria, the results won't be great. Or if you pressure things are always shout out, oh, it's already going on since so long, then maybe it's just the best thing to give Moria probably a bit of a special status and have it like run beside other projects for a longer period of time.
Yeah.
I think the hard part with that is that there's a lot of like artists in particular, and as well as designers, who just, when you ask them to help with Moria, say no, because like, oh, I don't know the style, or like, oh, like Moria, without having that burnout. And so I think the only downside to making Moria just like this long, forever running project is that you will have players that just ignore it.
Oh,
And
wait a
you always
second.
get new
Fire
players.
does have a voice. What?
Get new players as well, though.
Actually,
Like,
Yeah, no, guys. I don't think you just realized Fire has a
I
voice.
already realized it a long time ago.
Wait, what? Wait, Fire? That's you talking? Oh,
No.
Yes,
Yeah,
I was
it's
fired.
the first time anyone's heard it.
I think this is the first time I've talked in like at least a few years.
Oh wow!
Be impressed.
I don't care. I honestly.
I can't believe I'm here.
Stop being so rude.
Oh, that I
We're
was
also going to have a gap when Mordor's finished if Moria's not done in this part. Because when Mordor's done, we'll basically have a complete route.
I really think we should do it. I really think we should just make this. Yeah, we should just make it.
Then they're going to come on and they're still in that one area you can't get through.
Yeah.
It's not done. Especially Moria, which is meant to be like really impressive.
Yeah.
Like just having that done would be like make that route possible, and that'd be like a massive achievement for the server to actually be able to.
It would be, yeah. If Moria is done, it will probably be the biggest achievement ever done in the history of Minecraft, and it's not even exaggerated. It's so big.
The fun thing is, back in 2010 or 11, when the first Moria of MCME was finished, MCME was so proud of it, and it was so significant for MCME that for I think about half a year or so, you could as well have renamed the server to Minecraft Moria. At least that's what I've heard from the time back then. Even when I joined in 2013, it was still a huge deal. Moria was one of the projects that people were most proud of, and this time it's even a lot more extreme.
Imagine the work of IT guys is like creates jobs, creates everything.
Yeah.
Perfect build.
Alright, so far about Moria, any more inputs on that?
Not really, but there's even one more thing I'd like to add, just in general. Like, I personally feel like the server could use a bit more, like, on social media, a bit more presence.
Yeah, true.
Like, try to get in new players. Since we
What do you mean specifically?
Like, YouTube videos. Like,
The YouTube channel's dead.
The YouTube channel's dead.
7 months since the last one.
Yeah, we need to get new videos.
The tour videos that really got the most people on were the ones that were made by Fornad ages ago, and those were and Fornad just took those down.
But by the way, guys,
guys,
when you get some new, can I honestly suggest? Yeah,
one at a time, please.
I'll suggest something for the YouTube. What if, like, I suggested that to Beat, don't believe it, like long ago, months ago, when he was still here. So what if we just do some, like, let guides do some kind of videos where they tour around some specific places?
No, please. No, doesn't work.
Why not?
It just doesn't work.
Yeah, that doesn't work.
It's quite hard to make a good video.
Yeah, you know,
it works for Westeros. Westeros Craft doesn't do.
No, yeah, but what the difference is
That's
like
Westeros.
these
I have somebody else to make videos for.
Yeah, but I mean,
Not
you don't
me.
want to watch like this giant tour. It gets boring. What you need is like impressive angle shots and just fly through shots and just make it a cinematic. That's what gets people interesting and hyped, and not just some guy listening to Gary's voice talk about how beautiful Mario is. No insult, Gary, but
Nobody wants that. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to listen to my voice.
Well, guys, to talk on Snow's point, they just put a voice chat. I can do that. I am making a cinematic currently, but if you want me to make an official one, I can do that.
Yeah, but
Well,
dude,
where about?
if it's added to like your previous video you made, no.
No,
I just need to dig out.
like,
I just need to dig
not
out
a stupid one,
my old
like
YouTube,
like a serious video. Come on.
We just need to make a presence. Like even if you made like
Exactly.
even if you made just a cinematic video of a little town in Gondor with like the shaders that Bart uses, like that.
Mate, I can actually do it.
I really agree with that. The problem is we haven't had anyone who does that regularly anymore.
yeah, but
Let's get someone.
can't guides be in charge of that? I feel like guides
It's not about like guides versus like which rank to be in charge of it. It's more just like who has a good enough computer, who has all these shaders.
Who's able to use it?
Taking screenshots is different than filming these cinematics because you need like a couple extra mods, and I don't know if Bart is up for that, but
Good ask. I'm not sure if he is, but
Yes, I've asked.
And
I
you
can
need a really
I might make it personally. Because what we really need is someone who's like the cinematic filmer for MCME for X amount of time.
yes.
We need to just like produce a bunch of videos because that's what gets the most amount of like likes and engagement.
Exactly. Like
Honestly, we need to
look at
get.
look at the giant boost we got from the Watch Mojo video. That was like insane.
Yeah.
We were featured in that like
Jesse.
4 new people.
We didn't choose
Why?
that.
No,
we
exactly,
just
but
need
still, it
any
works.
popular Minecraft YouTuber back, and
Mhm.
it'll get a lot more people on. Well,
But the thing is, Minecraft's practically dead on YouTube.
yeah, that's the thing
A big
because
issue as well.
it's become so unpopular.
Because it became a meme.
Just remember, guys.
It's just like
don't
our,
take some effort and just work them out, put them on a forum.
our downfall was like cringy 10-year-olds YouTube channels.
It's not me.
Damn them. It's my channel.
Yeah, it's your channel.
Has anyone seen that channel?
I've seen it.
Yes,
I've
I've seen it.
subscribed.
It's the worst thing ever.
It's pathetic, seriously.
Honestly, it even has a bit of a section.
Yeah. Thomas, do you know what we planned, by the way? Thomas and I were going to make some cringy videos, were we, Thomas?
Yeah.
Oh no.
We're gonna like
Some kinky ones.
Roblox gameplay.
Yeah. Thomas, shall I play the girl? Thomas, shall I play the girl this time?
Yes.
Yeah, this time.
Alright.
No. Mate. Back in the day, my mate used to play my in-game girlfriend. Series videos. And he had like a really heated voice.
He had sex with someone on a Minecraft video.
Oh my god.
What? This escalated quickly.
Thomas.
Oh my god.
I was like 13, so.
Thomas, we're gonna need that.
Alright, guys, gonna make a point. The main problem why our YouTube channel is not posting any videos anymore is because we don't have any videos to post. So
We do. You just need to. What I said, just if we have so many little villages and stuff done, like in Gondor and Eriador and Moria in Isengard. If
we're talking about videos that we have already made, like if you have a video or if you suggestion for a video, make a thread about it. Make a
like let me get
like a shooting or something, or make it edit it and show it. Well,
Who even runs a YouTube channel?
Q.
Oh, okay.
Patrick, do you know how much time did I use for make a 3D model animation for the intro of MCME? Like for the video?
How long?
Oh, here's where the problem is.
About 45 hours of work and modeling. So yeah, so you know, it's not something you get like in 3 minutes to do.
No.
yeah, nice video editing is a form of art. It's not something you could just quickly do. yeah, I agree that we can just put up some videos which have good content but are easier to do. I'm also thinking about the sort of videos I had on my or have on my channel about showing off the features of our custom plugins and things like that. Or recordings of our events, things like that, just to show off a bit that we're actively doing stuff.
But seriously, I already have like, if I look on the map right now, like I'm on the line map, I already see several ideas for video you could do, like cinematics or like some fly-throughs. It's easy.
Yeah.
But the question is, how will you make that, and especially how will you make that good? That's the main issue. It's going to take a lot of time before you get a good video.
That's true.
Because you can make like a fly through and it'll be fine, but it's like really good cinematics that I think Luke did a bunch of them, and Fresh, when he was part of MCME, did a lot of them, and so it's like those are the like really good videos that we really
need. Yeah. We could, if it's possible, we could do like a fly through from locations like Lothlorien or Edoras. Like that's what people want to see. That's like good topics. You know, what can lead people to the server? Do we actually have a cinematic?
It's like a face of the server.
Do we have a video of Isengard actually?
Yeah. No, we have a video of all of the older locations that have been around for a while. What we should also consider doing is like a completed Gondor video or something like that.
Yeah, but that's not done yet. Like we have to tease like some small videos, like some little showcases in Gondor, like some little villages, like for example Efring or Calambel. Like that's towns.
You could start looking from Amraphel.
My only suggestion is work it out, make a forum thread, put your suggestions in there, and make a detailed plan about it.
Yeah, that's what we need to do.
See if someone can film the video, and see if someone can narrate it, and stuff like that. And see if someone can edit it. Like once you have those three key persons, then you can actually start thinking about making the video. It's no point in discussion what we can do, what we can't do without those three persons.
I have a really sexy voice for the Oh, I like the ASMR idea.
Guys.
Dave, you should do.
Have you heard the Morio? Have you guys heard the Morio?
Oh yeah, great
he actually has ASMR like thing.
Honestly, I wish you sexy voices. You just need to go to
I've seen how well ASMR does on YouTube. Like,
it doesn't.
We basically have a moneymaker.
Yeah, we
Why not just take Viggy?
I have a winning ticket.
Take Viggy.
Minecraft video, yeah, sure, man.
Guys, Viggy is.
It's happened.
Yes.
More Minecraft's actually pretty popular.
Viggy, please.
Hi guys. Okay, let's stop this.
Yeah. So bottom line, I think if there's someone around you or among you, who either can already or is hyped to learn about making nice videos, video editing, filming with the camera studio mode or something similar, reach out to me, or maybe you just want to be a narrator, reach out to me, or maybe we can combine or find a small team that is able to produce some videos for the MCME YouTube channel. That would be awesome.
I could make like a cinematic. I actually tried it once, but the mod didn't update in time. But I could try again.
Thomas, the combination is two things. Like you need to like first film the cinematic, like how you're gonna go through the locations, just flying. Then you need like good texture packs to make it look very good, shaders and stuff. And of course you need suitable music with the cinematic. Like, Like for example,
I can put in Lord of the Rings music because I can. I just remix it.
Haikyuu. If you go through the Lothlorien, you should just do the Lothlorien music, and then maybe indeed like just mix it a bit.
Unless you guys want to make money off it.
It's copyright.
No, we're gonna
make money off of it.
No. It only copyrights it if you actually put it as monetized. If you don't put it as monetized, they won't do anything because you're not making money off it, so they can't. Yeah. It's only if you use it in the way to. he wants to make money off. So if you got
let's not make copyrighted. Let's not use copyrighted music. Let's not use
Here's how it
copyrighted
works.
music.
Because I put in loads of arrangements in my.
Yeah, but nobody gives a fuck about your video, so that's why you're not getting removed.
Mate,
Yeah,
800 views.
Nobody cares about Minecraft.
Thomas. I still remember that crappy intro of you, like the horrible Minecraft island and then the stupid Lord of the Rings music.
Mate, 800 views.
It's the old days.
I
can be the for this. And
then I remember hearing, "Where's my daughter?" And then I hear in a room, and it's like, oh, and you come out of it. Like, that's seriously what you see in the video. That's so disturbing.
We gotta find that video now.
No, you'll never find it.
I can send it to you.
Take it down right now.
Do you want to send it? I will send it in the forums. Yeah, Thomas has an extra.
Yes.
Alright, and I will at this point put a closing line for this meeting. Feel free to talk on afterwards. But if there's anything you would like to be discussed within the recording or whatever, name it right now. Else we're gonna close this off. And yeah. Anything?
Is there any assured evidence that update 1.13 will, kind of beef the game up and kind of enable the game to have more item blocks? So possibly use them more.
I don't think there's any news. I think there's no concrete news about 1.13 yet, besides that they changed the vanilla textures. We know that there's some fundamental change to how IDs work, but whether this has any positive effect for us is not determinable yet. And I think there's also no date when 1.13 will come out.
But there will be slabs and stairs for all blocks.
Yeah, because I think.
Oh really? I haven't heard that one yet.
Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Will be a huge progress for us.
Yeah, definitely. In that case, we would also gain some blocks which we have now used for slabs and stairs, especially, which you can then use for something else.
Q and Finn, I want to talk to you after this.
Oh, this sounds not good. Stop threatening me. Alright.
Probably we're not going to be able to really add much more without beefing the game's capabilities.
Rito.
Oh yeah, sorry. Sorry.
Are you working like not full time, but are you like really going to start Bandit's Hall again? Like, are you willing to finish it? Like, then I could assist you maybe with some artists.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna finish it too.
Yeah? Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, sorry, Ritz had a quick small point. He asks about building animations through jobs. It's something I wanted to do as part of these summer events, I think. It's not something I've really planned right now, but definitely something we could look into. Look what we can go through the map and see what we can animate, and because the biggest part of, or the biggest or the biggest work you have to do for making an animation is building the frames, and that's something, yeah, everyone can help. We can do this with plot builds, with plot build plugin, for example. Yeah, it just will require a designer to be present during the building, because it helps a lot if you can just copy the frames once you build one, because else you, like, if you're animating a windmill or so, you don't want to build the entire windmill 4 times or so. You would just want to copy it 4 times and make some small changes to it. Yeah, definitely something we can look into. Good. With that, I would like to thank you all for coming and talking and contributing very eagerly to this meeting. It was great, and I hope you enjoyed it as well. Yeah, as I said, I've recorded all this. I will put it on my YouTube channel and post out the link as soon as it's uploaded.
Please edit me out.
Sorry?
I said, like last time, please edit me out.
Alright then, thank you for coming, and wish you a nice evening or yeah, whatever time it is that you are.
Yeah, same.